Hello, everyone. A very warm good evening to all of you. I'm Sanchita Devedi, Head of Content Development at Institute for Career Studies. And I'd like to start by introducing our star speaker and honored guest, Mr. Sharman Joshi. Ladies and gentlemen, all the students out there, Sharman Joshi needs no introduction. We all have seen him, admired him. He, as we all know, is a celebrated theatre and film actor. He has acted in, produced, directed stage plays also in multiple languages. He's dearly admired for his work in the Hindi film industry. He debuted way back in 1999 with the film Godmother. And we all may remember, then we saw him as a co-lead actor in this really popular film of its time called Style. This was followed by some stellar performances in path-breaking cinema like Rang De Basanti, Three Idiots, Mission Mangal, Life in a Metro, Ferrari Ki Sawari, just to name some. Mr. Joshi, we are very, very honored, extremely excited to have you among us this evening. Welcome, sir. Next, we have surprise visitor amongst us, a very honored teacher and the former Education Minister of Bhutan, Professor T.S. Podial. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Really happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me in today.
Sir, you're welcome. You're always welcome. Next, I'd like to introduce Founder Director, ICS, Dr. Amrita Das. Dr. Das's journey has been a very inspirational one. Way back in 1985, when she started ICS, there was very little conversation in the country around career guidance and career planning. Dr. Das changed that. She pioneered these fields in India. She also guided the newly established ICS with her futuristic vision and strong and patient leadership. Today, under her direction, ICS has a strong footprint not only in India, but also in other countries in South Asia and the Middle East. Dr. Das, great to have you here.
Thank you.
May I now introduce somebody who is very special and has been extremely instrumental in making today's evening possible. Head of CSR and Senior Career Counselor at ICS, Mrs. Naheed Verma. Mrs. Verma worked for about more than 2 decades as a media person and as a social activist before she decided to step into the role of a career counselor. Today, she's not only guiding so many students to careers of their choice, but she's also spearheading some highly motivational projects at ICS. Naheed, a hearty welcome to you. I'd finally like to introduce Mr. Hitesh Keswani, who will be interviewing Sharman Joshi for all of us today, asking him questions on our behalf.
Yeah.
Mr. Keswani is a celebrated alumnus of La Martiniere College, Delhi University, and Symbiosis Pune. He is also a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He had a vision, he said, of taking educational standards in the country to new highs. And with this vision, he then completed his B.Ed and MA in education. Today, he's working as a senior teacher and guidance counselor at La Martiniere College. Welcome, Hitesh.
Thank you.
With this, I'd like Dr. Das to please address our esteemed guests, our audience, and take the session forward.
Namaste and a very good evening to each one of you. It is a huge honor, privilege, and pleasure, Sharman, to welcome you on behalf of the Institute for Career Studies to this signature Never Be Defeated webinar. We are delighted to have such a globally renowned, popular, and much admired iconic role model in our midst. Sharman, your passion is your profession, and that is so appealing and attractive. Despite universal acclaim and fame as a star performing artist, your hallmark qualities of humility and goodness of heart endear you to all of us. Through all your roles, Sharman, you have been appreciated for the 1 in 3 idiots universally. And this continues to inspire thousands to follow their heart, to be true to themselves, and above all, to uphold integrity. We have shown this famous interview scene of yours in the last 10 years in almost every one of our career counseling and guidance seminars and workshops to students, to teachers, to parents across the world, and it has indeed been transformational. Once again, a very warm welcome to you, Sharman, and to all our esteemed participants. We have the virtual presence of hundreds of students, parents, teachers, counselors, principals, directors of schools, and other professionals. We have a very surprised person who we noticed had registered as a teacher, and we requested him to be our guest of honor and preside over this very special historic session with you, none other than Professor T.S. Paudyal, former Education Minister of Bhutan, who led the happiness movement and the Green School movement, which has spread across the world. Nahid, it is your birthday today, and we would like to wish you a very happy birthday. It's her golden birthday, a landmark golden birthday. Nahid, you have shown us that if you can dream it, you can do it. If you want something deeply, the universe conspires to give it to you, because you had this dream of bringing Sharman in our midst. And there he is. And the date has coincided with your birthday. How magical that is.
Happy birthday, Nahid. Sorry to cut you there, Amrita. Happy birthday, Nahid. God bless.
So this is so very special today. And with those words, once again, a very warm welcome to you, Sharman.
A very good evening to everyone. Never Be Defeated began in 2018. This annual event was inspired by hundreds of students at ICS councils and guides. At ICS, we endeavor to ensure that no one is left behind, that each student is guided to a career according to his interest, aptitude, talents, and aspiration. And this webinar is in concurrence of this endeavor. I really thank Dr. Das for ever being so supportive, and to all the students here who make our every effort so worth it. I first spoke to Sharman sometimes in 2013 when I interviewed him as a journalist at the launch of his film Nani Ma. Last month, when we were brainstorming at the Institute for Career Studies about who could be our next guest for Never Be Defeated webinar in these dismal and very difficult and strange times, I remembered I had Sharman's number. I called and I asked him, and he instantly agreed. This is who Sharman is. Humility and generosity is what makes him a great human being, just as he is one of the most talented and versatile actors in the Hindi film industry. Thank you so much, Sharman, for your invaluable time and support. Thank you very, very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I know I'm talking to a bunch of young students at the threshold of their respective careers. And one thing I would like to share with them is that Mr. Bachchan actually quotes this poem, which his father had once told him. And I have been very inspired by that, and I hope you find inspiration in it too. And it goes something like, तुम्हारे मन का हो तो अच्छा है, तुम्हारे मन का तो अच्छा है, तुम्हारे मन का ना हो तो और भी अच्छा है, क्योंकि वो भगवान के मन का हो. So you try your best. Yeah, if it works out according to your plan or what you had decided, what you had thought of, and it works out well, wonderful. If it doesn't, don't worry, relax, hang in there. And God has other plans for you, which might be much better than you would have ever imagined. And you'll be surprised. And every time you'll be surprised. I think the only contribution you have to give is that at that point of time, whatever is in front of you in terms of the work that you have, you give it your 101%. And don't compromise on that. It may be seeming menial to you at that point of time. It may be seeming meaningless. As long as, of course, your heart is where it is, in the sense that it's the kind of work you're enjoying. And also, I would like to say, I was fortunate that I chose a career and it worked out well for me. And it was a passion, which is now my career. And I know that it's not easy for many. It may not work out that way, and that's all right. It's fine. It's human. Even I was confused. I was not sure whether acting or law. I was really not sure how it would work out. I happened to take up acting, and it worked out well. Had I taken up law first, and it would have gone kaput, and maybe then I would have gotten into acting. It would have gone either way. So I was just lucky that I chose a particular profession and it worked out very well. So in case it doesn't happen to you, please don't be very harsh on yourself. It's a tendency, all of us, it's good to be focused and give your very best to achieve your goals. But at the same time, it's very important to be gentle to yourself, be tender to yourself, have some time where you can pamper yourself and not be constantly hard on yourself, because I feel it's very unfair. I tend to do that many a time, and I sit back and I say that, listen, I'm really pushing myself and I shouldn't. Sometimes you just need to sit back and, even in those moments, there might be great learnings for you, and you must trust the process and trust the God sometimes. Just constantly pushing may not work. Now, again, I've also noticed that there are largely two kinds of natures of people. So some people who are like me, who are shy, who believe that things will happen to them, and there are others who are designed in another way, where they are extrovertish and where they make things happen. And both of them are very important kind of people, and both of them have their own advantages in the kind of work that they will choose to do eventually. So each to his own. No approach is wrong. If someone tells you, I had my cousins and well-meaning people very early on in life, where they used to see me, I got hold of, let's say, a very good play or successful play, and my work has been appreciated, and then I'm just sitting back and waiting for the next one. And they used to best interest for me, come and advise me that, listen, you need to do something more, you need to get out and make things happen. And my initial response used to be that, earlier, I used to respond saying that, no, listen, I think it's fine. It's going to happen to me. So I don't think, I won't need to step out there. It will organically come to me if it's meant to be. As time passed by, somewhere I lost belief in that. I went back to the approach that my cousin had, because that was the way he was built. He was built like that. He was extrovertish in nature, and I tried to apply that. And then I realized that I was completely restless, and I had no connection to peace, in the sense that, because it was not my personality and I was going completely against it, and I could feel a lot of unrest within myself. I did that for a while, and then I pulled back and I said, listen, I have to be true to myself, and I'm not designed this. Instinctively, my nature tells me that I have to, within what I have to work hard. And there are others who go out there and make it happen. So each approach is right. It's about how you are built. Well, so anyways, I'm back to myself. Whatever I have on my plate, I give it my best. And it's been a journey to realize that. So it's a little tip. I feel that if your nature is an extrovert and you have to go out there and make things happen, please do that. And if you're not, then please don't bother doing it. Yes.
So I think in this journey, we have learned some very important things. But one of the fundamental things, which I'm sure our children are also noting down, you just didn't plunge into acting. You made sure that you gave your 101%. You worked on your craft. You honed yourself to near perfection, but also had a plan B ready. You also continued your education along with your acting as a choice, your hobby, before making it professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Sharman, coming to something lighter, year after year, we have been seeing that you have been turning smarter. You have been looking the same what you looked 20 years ago, and in fact, even better. So what are your secrets to positivity and your daily stress busters for your well-being, which have kept you so positive and getting better year after year.
Now, what seems like an advantage to you today at this point of time was a big disadvantage for me earlier in my career, because I always looked at least 10 years younger than my age, and which was quite brutal in the sense of for the actor within me. I always was ready for roles with more depth and more drama and more maturity, gravitas, and I couldn't find those parts because of my physical appearance. I always looked younger than my age. So again, there's no real contribution.
Sharman, there was a video of yours in which you have given 40 takes for your character as Lucy in Ferrari Ki Sawari, which was a mature role. And the director is saying you aren't looking mature enough to be a father of 3 or a father, but in real life you are a father of 3. Am I right?
Yes, Lucy, yeah, and father of 3, yes, in real life. I have a daughter who's 14 and I have twin boys who are 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now what's the advantage to you? So what's the behind it? What are your daily stress busters?
So we all have stress, and every day kind of how I deal with my stress differs. Well, there are largely 3-4 things that I do to break away from it. Early morning workout, it works beautifully well for me to begin my day well. I'm in a very happy and good mood. I'm that kind of a person who needs his, first 2 hours in the morning just to himself. So I invariably step out for a walk or do my little exercise regime. And that's when I get my time for myself, and then I'm ready to meet my family and face the rest of the world. That if I don't get, I get stressed out many a days. So I try and achieve that every time that I can. Apart from that, watching movies, watching television, sometimes just aimlessly watching anything and I'm not even paying attention, but it just gives me time out from everyone else because everyone thinks that I'm focusing on something when I'm actually not. But I just need that kind of time. And traveling is the biggest stress buster. I love to travel, and Mumbai being Mumbai, even on a holiday, you don't know when your time flies by. You wake up in the morning and you realize it's night and it's time to go to work tomorrow. You go somewhere as close as like 2 hours drive away from Mumbai, and time seems to crawl. So it's amazing. Even if I drive off 2 hours away to Lonavala or to Karjat or to Alibag, which is 3-4 hours away, you suddenly feel that it's just that the day is not just passing by. So and which is what I really enjoy then. But I think since I'm born and brought up here in the city, I can't live with it and can't live without it. It's like that. But I need those breaks. I have to come back to the mad chaos of Mumbai. But also those few days, I like to take short trips in between my work schedules, and that just helps me de-stress. Yeah.
All right. So, Sharman, are there some books, apart from these de-stressing activities, are there some books which you will want our audience to go back and read? Some books that have deeply influenced your life journey? Any of your favorite?
There was a point. I'm not very good at reading.
All right.
But I'm making it because there's like gold there. It's a big treasure there. And I know that. And I push myself. And nowadays I've been listening to audiobooks. Which helps. But earlier, it was still in college, I think, or just, I needed answers to make up the Vedanta. This is Ved Prakash, I remember. And I started reading it. And it was wonderful. I read it till 50 odd pages. And then something in the book didn't appeal to me. And I decided to stop reading it. But by then I had been many questions to my answers were already given in that book. I found them in the book. And thereafter, since the last 1 year, I have gone back to reading the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. And I recommend everyone, each and every one of you listening to this or any other text, because I know of the Bhagavad Gita, so I'm talking about that. And
Yes.
it's about dealing with life. It's about how you cope with life, largely. It's Krishna telling Arjun the right and wrong ways of leading life. And you won't even realize that you had these questions in your mind, and the book is answering to all of them. So guys who are just about starting, maybe there are different versions of the Bhagavad Gita. There are simpler ones where it's said in simpler words, and I recommend you start from there and then go into the more complex versions of that, and then find deeper meanings and various other aspects to your understandings about life in general and about how to move forward. And that also de-stresses me big time.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita is a huge, yeah.
So let me share with you, Sharman, whenever I read the Bhagavad Gita, every time there's something new. It's
Yes.
so profound.
Yes.
And to another lighter theme. So you've acted in phenomenal films, movies of all categories, all ranges that there are possible. And I'm sure in future there'll be many more. So at this point, I will request you to name any top 3 to 5 of your roles that you've played. Your all-time favorite roles.
Three Idiots, for sure.
Raju.
Style. Raju, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever go to colleges for your shooting and students end up still calling you Raju?
Oh, yeah. They do. Three Idiots. It's one of one of those special films that comes once in many decades, I would say. It's maybe the Sholay of our times in that sense.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's going to be with us for a long, long time to come.
A legendary movie.
Sorry?
A legendary movie indeed.
Legendary movie. Even today, if I meet someone and we start talking about Three Idiots, they will talk about the movie like they've seen it last night, because they remember each and every scene, each and every character, each and every moment of the film. And there's so much excitement when they are naturally meeting me and then talking about the film. So yeah, it's really heartening. And I never sorry, go ahead.
And let me also share with the audience that the movie Three Idiots is now into its 10th year. It's completed a decade. Whereas Sharman has completed, am I right, 21 years in the Bollywood.
Yes, that's right.
21, that's huge.
Yes, thank you. So, well, impact of cinema. Rang De Basanti, I got a sense that how much cinema can impact the viewers, the audiences. Till Rang De Basanti, I always thought it's possibly a haircut here and there, a way of dressing or kind of fashion, and that's about it. How much more influence can cinema have on you? Rang De Basanti changed my thought on that, because it was a personal experience. I'm sure there are many other movies which have people have had experiences. Rang De Basanti, I saw that the audiences, after watching that movie, they were so inspired, and the Candle March, and during Jessica Lal's time, the Candle March approach happened. I think it was just after the movie when this episode happened, and people stepped out with the Candle March and to silently show their protest against what was going on. So I just realized, God, Rang De Basanti has an influence. And then there are that by Three Idiots, and Three Idiots, the kind of experiences I have personally had, where post the release, there are many close friends and some people completely unknown to me who have come and said things to the effect where they were in a certain line of profession, and after watching the movie, they have now chosen to chase their dreams and follow their hearts, and in the middle of their careers, they have aborted those careers and shifted on to some other career that they have always wanted to do. And I was amazed that, the movie had such a profound effect or impact on people. Then I know of many parents who have come up to me and said that, our approach towards kids in terms of freedom or in terms of movement, like a simple example, one father, he himself said it in his own words that I realize I'm maybe a little overprotective with my child. He lived in Mumbai and in the suburbs, and his daughter had to go to town south of Mumbai, which is like
Yes.
a 1 hour, 2 hour car drive, 1 hour train ride. And all her friends went by train. It gave time and it was convenient, and they all got to go. And it took longer, and she was unhappy because she couldn't be with her friends. He's saying after the movie, I've realized that, and it was a small gesture, but he said, I was so liberated. My daughter was so liberated. She was so happy that her father has now allowed her and has thought that she's responsible enough that she will take care of herself and bring herself back home safely. And that's when he allowed her to travel by train, basically. And so many parents also changed their approach towards their kids and how they trusted them more and were a little less strict with them as far as the academics were concerned.
Sharman, this has been a very tough situation for the world we are going in right now, the pandemic situation. Let me ask you both, as from your perspective and as a parental perspective, how have you been dealing with the pandemic situation and the allied lockdowns?
Well, my approach overall in life has been to be positive, and that's how I've treated, and the family, all of us together, have been in a positive frame of mind. What has to be done has to be done in terms of the precautions to be taken. We are following that, of course, to the T. But also at the same time, a lot of doctors also have mentioned to me that, negative thinking is not going to help you anywhere. And in
Yes.
fact, people are falling worse off in terms of their health. It deteriorates because you are just thinking negative, and
Yes.
the sense of fear only brings you down, and there is no positive in it. As opposed to being positive, it's quite chaotic. It's understandable, but when you're being positive, at least there is a sense of calmness, there's a sense of peace, and there's an overall sense of well-being till you are not hit by the virus. So the best way forward has been that we've been positive, followed the norms, and just moving along and hoping that that this phase shall pass and we'll have minimal casualties, and we shall all be back, happy, and get back to our daily routines of life. Also, recently, about 8 months back, I watched Three Idiots for some reason. I've never naturally had tears in my eyes after watching it. I was moved by it, but I had tears in my eyes, and I was like, they were like, I was crying, and I was like shocked. I said, after so long, like 8 months back, I saw it like in the full flow after many years, and I was surprised with myself that God, this was I. It dawns upon you sometimes because just the passage of time kind of you forget that scene, and you have people who still come and meet you and they have just possibly recently seen it, or they come and talk with such passion and they're so moved by it, and you wonder that okay, yes, I remember that scene, but then when I saw it again, I said, gosh, now I know. And since then I've decided to keep a mantra that every morning when I wake up, I say that I'm thankful to God that I'm here in this wonderful world. Number two, wonderful people around me, and number three, just keep smiling. At least in my head, all the time I should be smiling. And these are the three approaches I've kept. Yeah.
Then, Sharman, after watching the movie or after having to act in the movie, have you ever used the All is Well mantra?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes, just after the movie. But recently, this is damn cute. So this is the mantra I've used for myself during my stage, even now when I'm doing theater and all that, because it's how stage performances is a live art. You don't get a second go at it. So it's very important you hit the right note, and you tend to get nervous every time you're getting out on stage. So I'll tell you what the mantra is. But before that, I'll tell you the story what my son shared with me. So he came to me a few months back and he said, listen, I'm good at football, and whenever I'm playing with my friends, I always, convert, as in score some goals. But on the field, when the matches happen, and when it counts and it matters, I don't manage to score goals. What should I do? So I said, now this is a problem I see. But I said that, you know what, I'll tell you the mantra I use before stepping onto the stage. I think it is kind of relevant in what you're going to be doing on the field today, and see if it works. And I used to tell myself, I said that you practice hard, right? He's saying, yeah, I practice very hard. I said, very good. So, I used to practice very hard for my place. So then I used to tell myself that now, firstly, I need to relax. Secondly, I have to have faith because I practiced very hard. So relax, have faith, and thirdly, go out there and enjoy yourself now.
Yes.
And relaxed state of mode is very important for anything. Have faith because you worked hard on anything that you've done. And then you have to enjoy yourself. Otherwise, everything is pointless. He did that, supposedly. He came back home saying that, now, this is not a film story. This is true. Yes. And I was amazed. And, he scored 2 goals that day. And he said, you know what, Pappy, he calls me Pappy. I thought of what you had told me and I actually implemented it and it happened. I said, wonderful. God bless. So, yeah. Suddenly that day, he looked at me differently. I could see it in his eyes. He was looking at me like I'm like God almost. That to God, you had the mantra to convert this. And I was thinking that I just shared something as simple as what I had experienced. Yeah.
Yes. So we are very happy to know about this paradigm shift that happened in BAPI. So Sharman, ICS had opened the registration for this seminar almost 10 days ago. And we have a volley of questions that have come in from the students. And I'll be calling on Sanchita, who will be taking those questions up with you. After that, I'll be coming up for one final very important question with you.
Sure.
Over to Sanchita.
Yes. Hello, sir. Great listening to you and all these great insights that you're sharing with all of us. It's not just the students, but all the grown-ups also who are benefiting.
Pleasure.
So, sir, as Hitesh said, there's been a volley of questions. So what we did, we tried to categorize them into different groups. The common concerns of students which have come forth are dealing with failure, or what some of the students have called mediocre success at school or in career, expectations of parents, and the concern that students have of getting parents on their side as they chase their dreams. Peer pressure, because of course, it was always there, but now it's kind of like disproportionately gone up because of social media and everything. And dealing with self-doubts and fears as students try to chase their dreams. So I'll ask you some representational questions because a lot of these questions dealt with these categories. For instance, Pavni Kalra asks, I would like to know if it's okay to change your goals midway and how to deal with the constant fear of mediocre success or failure.
Anything that I've decided to do in my personal life or professional life, I've always taken the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Extreme ends, nothing in between. At worst, what will happen if I do this? And am I willing to bear that consequence? Well, yes, I am willing to. At worst come. And if I do an action and at best this is going to be it, well, it turns out best, there is no complaint. Of course, you're happy to work with it. But worst case scenario should be counted and considered every time, I feel. I know there are many people who would say that, why get down to that? Why do you think like that? But if you don't think like that, if you don't consider that, it's not going to be fair to yourself. And these are simple things, but I think these are very relevant things. And I get very moved by simple sayings. I get very moved by certain virtues which we are told repeatedly and over the years, that it almost seems like we don't take them seriously effectively. Like being honest, being true to yourself, being hardworking, being sincere, being trustworthy. These are all things, if you take them seriously, apply in your life, life will be peaceful, life will be happy. Mediocre success, well, only thing in your control, I feel, is you put your best foot forward. Thereafter, if it's not meant to be, I think the best way forward is to accept it. Accept it how? Accept it by speaking to yourself constantly that you gave your best foot forward. At the end of the day, when you look back and you say, was there any, in terms of my effort, was there any lacking? And if the answer will be no, then I think it'll be a life well lived. So, how successful you will be or not is really not in our control. So, don't take either success or failure seriously. These are things you might have heard often, but these are things you have to really practice to know how true they are. So, yeah.
Okay, so the next question, and this is a very common concern among students, especially the students who come to ICS, that there's always this concern of among students that parents are probably not on the same page. And so there's this question by Dakshi. She says, well, we all know that in today's scenario, parents want their wards to get the best of jobs. And she puts that in quotes. Why don't they understand that everyone has different abilities and dreams? Isn't happiness the most important thing? So, how do we tell students to get their parents' support as they chase their dreams?
I'm saying just be patient with them. They have the best interest in their mind for you. I understand it can be very frustrating and exasperating when your parents may not see a point of view which from your perspective is absolutely right. Also, please be aware that there might be 2 right perspectives to a situation, or maybe 3 or 4. Please be aware of that. Then the route you choose to take is, of course, your responsibility, and you'll bear the consequences of it. Any action you take in life, I feel, you should be responsible for it, and you tell yourself that I will solely blame myself for it and not my parent, not my mother, not my father, because that's what we generally tend to do, and then we are very bitter with them for the rest of our lives, or at least for very many years to come. Anything, any decision you take, even if it's at the advice of your father or your mother, eventual decision is yours, remember that. And if it does not work out, you have to shoulder the failure of it.
The responsibility.
So, yeah, well, parents, to bring them about on your side is, well, it's just time, it's patience, and they'll have to see your sincerity towards a certain goal that you are choosing to achieve. And I'm sure when they see that you're all there and you're very well focused and you are very well aware of what you're doing, they will eventually see your point of view. And if not, then, well, what you have to do, I guess.
Actually, you've sort of answered the next question. It was a parent's question, and Mr. Ashwini, he said that, how do we make our children understand and that, success will not happen till the time they work on their abilities, making themselves better. It's the sharpening of the saw, which has to be a continuous process, he says. And he says that, children chase success, but sometimes they're not prepared to probably put in the effort that's needed. So I guess you answered that a little bit, but if you want to say more.
You know what, Sama, I just feel that God, we are the means to having that child. God has blessed us with having that child, and that's the approach I'm going to have with my kids who are 14 and 10. That's what I'm sharing with you. Right or wrong, I don't know. Each one has his own perspective, and mine is that all I can do is assure them, nourish them well and give them a good education, and then just let them take their own flight. And I'm hoping they will find their way. Whenever they don't and they are lost, I'll always be there to support them. But beyond that, there is nothing you can do, honestly. You can't change your mind. We are not God. We cannot. There's only certain things we can do and certain things we can't do. All we can do is be there for them. Give them the best in terms of, education and bringing up and values. And hopefully they adhere to them. And if they don't, then they will fall and they'll learn. And that also we have to trust. That will happen. No point overstressing, because that will only stress the kids out.
And your thoughts about, so, we're talking about teenagers, we're talking about people in a very impressionable age group. So any tips that you would want to share with students about dealing with peer pressure and self-doubt?
Self-doubt is natural, I mean, and it's good somewhere. I think it's very positive. I consider self-doubt to be very positive. So I feel whenever I'm having self-doubts, that means I'm not prepared enough. So I work harder then and ensure that I work hard enough that then there are no self-doubts. And that's when I'm ready to go ahead and do whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
Peer pressure, well, see, some of us can handle it, some of us cannot. If you can't handle it also, it's fine. It's okay, no problem. Just trust the process. Do what you have to. Go down deep in your heart and ask yourself whether you're being true to yourself. That is the most important thing. Sometimes you will crumble against peer pressure, which is also fine. Get up again, keep moving, and try to minimize it by just constantly questioning yourself that whether what you're doing is right or wrong. Everyone today's peer pressure. In the future, there will be people having multiple opinions on what you're doing and whether it's right or wrong. Eventually, you have to seek deep within and ask yourself whether what you're doing is right. And you'll find the answers right there.
Yeah, perfect. True. So one last question, and everyone's interested, I mean, I'm also interested in this. You have already spoken about being nervous before your stage performances.
Yeah.
And there's a question from a student who's saying that, how do I overcome the fear of speaking to a large audience? So any tips that you want to share?
Just practice, yeah. And so, some of us are built to speak in front of a large audience, and some of us are not. People appreciate many of my comedy films and they just think that I'll be a great stand-up comedian. But I tell you, that's a different skill. It's a different set of skills that you need. And I don't have them in me. I've checked with myself and deeply checked that can I deliver on this count and on this front, and I don't think I can. So it's okay. Not everyone is meant to be a speaker in front of a large audience. If you're meant to be, it'll come to you naturally.
Yeah, practice. Thank you, Sharman. So, Hitesh, I'll pass on this to you now for the conclusion, your last question.
Yes, Sharman. So, this is the time I pose my final question to you. And it's a very important question to me, and I'm sure it will be a very important answer to our entire audience. So, there are these times that life never fails to throw lemons at us. Some people get dissolved in its sourness, while some take it and make the lemon juice out of it. What was your penultimate moment in life when you look back at life and you said, I will never be defeated?
Many moments have come by. But tell me, what better choice do you have? If you allow yourself to be defeated, it's only going to lead to sadness, misery, and not feeling good about yourself. As opposed to, you tell yourself you're not going to be defeated, you're going to move forward with all your might. It might not lead to success, but at least you will feel good about yourself, that you're trying your best, and I assure you, you will feel good about yourself, even though you're not. Just the fact that you make an effort to stand up again is good enough. You will be very proud of yourself, and that's the way to go forward. That's the only way to go forward, to have a peace of mind. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Sharman, because I am in Lucknow right now, let me conclude by saying something for this evening. अर्ज किया है, यही एक ख्वाब आपका भी है और मेरा भी है. यही एक ख्वाब आपका भी है और मेरा भी है. वहां वहां चिराग जला दे, जहां जहां आज तक अंधेरा ही है. वहां वहां चिराग जला दे, जहां जहां अंधेरा ही है.
Wow, very nice.
So over to Dr. Das. Thank you, Sharman.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
So over to Dr. Das now.
Thank you very much, Sharman, for being with us.
Thank you.
Your session with us, your interaction has been mesmerizing and engaging.
Thank you.
I loved your candid responses to questions about your life, which has so much meaning, and we can derive so many important lessons from it. We also loved your responses to questions from students, which clearly indicate another persona of being a great guide and mentor. Your answers were really beautiful and touching, and they were so true to what we should be doing. So, for example, you talked about, of course, following your heart, true calling in life, about working hard, doing your best, but also finding time to relax, to have faith, go out, enjoy. Your messages for students, for parents, for all of us were ever so profound. Thank you for being with us for an evening, which is something we'll always remember. And we are ever so grateful to you for all that you have shared today. We've been touched by your thoughts, by your words, and I think you've connected virtually with the hearts and minds of everybody who's present here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Pordial, for giving us this wonderful surprise and coming here incognito as a teacher, but being drawn in our midst as a special guest, as an eminent educator and Minister of Education who has spread happiness across the world and who has spread the whole aspect about sustainable development through your green schools. Thank you so much. Would you like to say a few words to us before I thank the others?
Thank you, Dr. Das. I came in almost as an intruder, a gate crasher this evening, but you have been so large-hearted to welcome me and accommodate me in this very august gathering organized by the Institute of Career Studies. Thank you so much indeed. This is the first time that I've been this close to a film star. Yes, and it's such an honor. Yes, and Mrs. Joshi, it's been such a pleasant experience and such joy to sit here and to listen to you this evening. And I would like to thank you and your fraternity of the film stars for entertaining and lightening the hearts of people all around the world, especially at a time like this when a lot of the people all around the world are bogged down in a kind of anxiety and fear and uncertainty. And individuals like you, artists like you, certainly give us that relief and that hope and that space for looking up and looking beyond. Thank you very much indeed. And
Thank you, sir. Coming from you, it's a big honor, sir. Thank you for such wonderful, kind words. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Podwell. We are overjoyed. Thank you, Hitesh, for, as always, being an amazing anchor person and coordinating this entire interaction with such aplomb. Thank you, Team ICS, and also Munira for networking between Team ICS and Sharman and having this event happen. So it's been a very memorable occasion, a memorable webinar, which will ever be imprinted in our hearts and minds. Thank you once again, everyone, and God bless. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.